Good afternoon and welcome to Leadership Dialogue on LG. My name is Omoyeni Ojeifu. Now, Leadership Dialogue is a program on leadership, hub, justice, and economic advancement, LGE, where we engage thought leaders and change makers on pressing issues shaping our nation. Today, we'll focus on leadership in crisis, restoring trust, and building a better future. Now, our country is going through one of its most challenging seasons, from economic hardship and rising inflation to insecurity and growing distrust in leadership. What kind of leadership do we need to navigate this crisis and secure a better future? Joining us via Zoom to discuss this is Dr. Sunny Ofehe, a human and environmental rights activist, diaspora affairs executive, and former Delta State gubernatorial candidate. Dr. Ofehe, you're welcome to the program. You're very much welcome. So Nigeria is going through tough times. From your perspective, what defines true leadership in such a period of crisis?
Well, leadership is actually putting the responsibility of a nation or a state or a local government in whichever way you have constituency representation in the hands of elected, in the hands of,
Okay.
sorry,
You can go on, sir. I can hear you, sir.
forward or backward. Wow. Yeah.
All right, you can go ahead, sir.
Well, I mean, is it appearing well? Because I'm not seeing.
Yes, you can go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, leadership is when you put the responsibility of a nation, a state, a local government area. I mean, any office that requires constitutional appointment and representation is when you
Okay.
put those responsibility in the hands of a few people to lead you. And that means that you have to develop policies, you have to make sure that you appoint the right people that can drive those policy in a way that it can meet the needs of the ordinary people, particularly those who have elected you to represent them.
Okay, so would you say our current leaders are meeting that definition? If yes, then how? But if no, what qualities do you think are missing the most in Nigeria's leadership today?
Well, I think that there is a gap between there is an obvious gap between elected representatives in Nigeria and the people, which is contrary to what we observe here in the Western countries. You know, when you are appointed to lead, you must make sure that the people have direct and indirect access to your leadership. How do you do that? Of course, Nigeria is a country with huge population, 200 million and above. So you cannot be allowing everyone to come see you. So what you can do is to engage them, is to meet them at go to the ballot to vote. They are actually being represented because of their orientational leaning position. We don't have that. So and then of course once they get into power, they hardly want to brief the electorate on steps taken so far, what they've been doing, how their policies are working, what are the challenges they are facing, how much time does the electorate need to endure what they're going through. So you have this gap between them, and then when there is that gap, the people don't even get to see what is going well and what is not going well, and that has become a problem within our politics in Nigeria.
Okay, so now that that is a problem, how do you think our leaders can rebuild public trust? What do you think, what ways do you think our leaders can actually, build to make the people trust them?
Well, it's easy. I mean, try and engage the people. Try and let your policy plans be known, because
Okay.
of course, I mean, 4 years is not enough for you to do miracle, particularly with the complexity that we have in
In
Nigerian
Nigeria,
politics that
yes.
ranges from religion, ethnic, city, cultural background, diversity. But all of this can be our strengths anyway. So, but you have to engage. And then, in the form of when there is a crisis, there is insecurity, you have to respond. You have to show that you are with the people. A few days ago, I was reading an article on the January 2015 terrorist attack on this. Charlie Hebdo's headquarters in Paris, where 5 people died. So they celebrated 10 years anniversary
Anniversary.
January this year. President Macron played a very prominent role in that anniversary, and then of course President Francois Hollande, who was a president at that time, invited some leaders to come out with the Parisian, with the French people, to march on the streets to tell the world that they can never be divided by any form of terrorist attack. How many of such visits have our leaders actually paid to areas where there have been serious terrorist attack, even to our military? So those sort of things can give comfort and succor to the people, understanding that their electoral representatives are actually feeling their pains and then joining them to be part of that. Part of solving that pains
That
together,
means okay.
so that is what is also lacking in our current political corridor.
Okay. You've lived both in Nigeria and abroad. And you just made mention of France, what Macron did, celebrated the 10-year anniversary. And how can Nigerian leaders adapt global best practices, just as you've mentioned in France? What other ways do you think our leaders can make the people trust them, since owing to the fact that you've lived in Nigeria and abroad? What other
Well,
practices do you
first
have abroad that we can adopt here in Nigeria?
Yeah, first and foremost, we have to kind of like show that we can strengthen our institution first. And then once we do that, we will be able to start dealing with the issue of corruption. And once we start dealing with the issue of corruption, we can then have a leadership that can that can relate with the people, that can explain to the people every steps that is being taken by the government through, how the budgets are summed up, how those budgets are spent, and then create some kind of public, for instance, create some kind of interactive platform between the people and the electorate. Like, for instance, Europe is going into elections very soon. Some countries are going to elections very soon. They've started campaigning, and they started campaigning based on issues. They've started looking at, and the people are having the opportunity to engage in town hall meetings
Okay.
where they can ask questions, where they can also hold the electorate responsible for some of the promises they made in the past that they've not been able to achieve. So such platforms are created in Western democracy. And that is why when any government is not doing well, the people are very quick to respond, because they were given assurances and they know that those assurances should be met. So if you don't meet them, you don't get my vote for the next time. So once we can create that platform where we can be able to show accountability, then we would have been able to at least build trust within the government in a way that the people can have hope, even when they are not seeing, when they're not getting direct benefit of your policy. At least they will know that the relationship that exists between the government and themselves will only be strengthened in a way that the benefit will surely come. So then they can be able to hang on and be patient with your administration while you are working on the processes that will get them what they want from you.
Okay. So, Nigeria is still a developing country. So, how do we avoid copying systems that don't fit into our context? Because there are some things that you might want to adapt from the Western world, and then it's not applicable here. So, how would our leaders avoid copying these contexts that are not going to fit into our system?
There's no policy. There is nothing happening in the Western countries that cannot happen in
Okay.
Nigeria. I understand that we have cultural differences, we have religious differences, we have orientational differences. However, we can manage. Like, for instance, the United States and the United Kingdom has high volume of Africans. They have high volumes of people with Asian background. Germany, for instance, Germany boasts of about 5 million Turkish population in Germany. Everybody's living. They still practice their religion, they still do their thing. But the thing is, you must create an enabling environment
Environment
for
for all.
everybody to come together, and
Yes.
then you must strengthen your institution in a way that people can know what to respect and what not to. So when they go against those policies, there is also the backlash, the consequences that come with going against that. So and of course, technology these days is bringing us closer. Most of us are learning from afar. Look at what we're doing right now. I am in the Netherlands, which is about 6,000 kilometers away from where you are, but we're
That's
communicating. We are
of
doing a
course.
video shoot. 10, 15 years ago, this would not be the case,
Mm-hmm.
So we must evolve. We must invest in our technology. People are going into AI development. Countries are investing hugely into this sector. We must also look at that. Nigeria boasts of human capital capacity, so we have the brains, we have the people who can adapt to any situation that you bring in. So I am very optimistic that if we have a government that are ready to work with Nigerians and work with particularly Nigerians in the diaspora, we will be able to harness all the resources, all the knowledge, all the capacity that we've received in a way that we can transform the country, to that level where we can compete on the global stage.
Okay. This is Leadership Dialogue. Let's go on a quick break. We'll be right back shortly.
The land we call home, the source of our life, our food, and our future. A conflict that tears at the very heart of Nigeria.
We see the pain, the shattered lives, and the broken trust. But what if we could mend what is broken?
LJE Nigeria invites government officials, traditional and religious leaders, farmers and herdsmen representatives, security agencies, civil society organizations, international development partners, and the general public to a 2-day national conference themed Securing Nigeria's Future, addressing the root cause of herdsmen farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue. Date 30th September to 1st October 2025. Venue Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Nigeria.
Join us as we address the root causes of this conflict through inclusive dialogue.
We will not just talk,
We will listen.
we will not just debate.
We will seek to understand.
Together, we will find solutions.
Welcome back to Leadership Dialogue on LJ. We have Dr. Sonny Ofehe, a human and environmental rights activist, diaspora affairs executive, and former Delta State gubernatorial candidate, joining us via Zoom from the Netherlands. And we have been dissecting the topic, leadership in crisis. So, sir, there's a question for you on YouTube, on our YouTube platform. And someone said, how can our institutions be strengthened?
You know, um, our institution can only be strengthened. You see, the good news first and foremost is that we have all the institutions, we have all the parameters that guides all our institutions, how they operate legally, how they carry out their functions. Everything is there, but the political will, and that political will falls into two, three umbrellas. One, putting the right people in place, ensuring that these institutions are well funded. Then thirdly, carrying out an oversight function, ensuring that those who carry out an oversight function over these institutions are doing their job very well. This is where the Western countries are different from us. We see like what is happening in the United States. There are sometimes President Trump dishes out an executive order, and then once the executive order, they eschew it and they see that it's against the law, it does not conform with the constitutional provisions of his power, they go to court, and then the court rules. And then so the three arms of government are functioning: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary that is meant to interpret the law. So once we have a leadership that has that political will to be able to put the right people in place and to be able to ensure that the funding that that institution needs gets to that institution on time, and then also ensure that the agencies that are saddled with the responsibility to carry out an oversight function over this institution do their work diligently and transparently, we will be there. And
We'll
then
get
you
there.
can then see the result and the outcome of what is supposed to come out of that area, that angle that that institution is supposed to handle. So, and Nigeria as a country, we have the people who can play that role very well. We have the people who can, who I've actually talked to a lot of people within the political corridors. I mean, you said that I was a governorship candidate in the last election, so it gave me the privilege and the honor to be able to engage Nigerians at every level. And I must tell you that in the course of my campaign and consultations, I met wonderful Nigerians who are intellectually at that level to be able to compete with anybody when it comes to administration, particularly in their area of endeavor. So we're not short of people who can deliver on this. We're also not short of people who can function within that space of carrying out an oversight function over this institution. And then thirdly, what we should also do is that we should create a platform that engages those who occupy those institutions and the people that are supposed to receive the benefit of those institutions. Let them engage. I mean, these days, your government can be people's oriented in a way that majority of us carry. It is said that Nigeria alone, the population that carries a smartphone is almost around 80 million out of the population that we have. That's a positive number for business. So if you, for instance, like the Ministry of Works and Housing, if you create a very standard website and then you put there an interactive column in the website where any contract you give out, you state how much was given in the contract, how much trenches has been paid to the contractor, and then you allow the people access to be able to drop videos of anything they find along the contract space. People can, the ordinary people can do this job without you paying anything and report contracts that are not done well. If they're doing well, they also report it to you. So there are many ways with which you can strengthen your institution by creating a people-friendly environment where the people can also engage in joining the government to monitor what is going on. But these things will not be possible if also the government is having something to hide. But in this case, at the point where we are right now, we should work towards ensuring that everybody has a role to play in the strengthening of our institution. This is the way forward. This is the foundation we must lay for any meaningful development to get to the people who actually need it.
Okay, sir. There's another question here on our comment section. So someone says, Mohammed here said, this doctor has spoken very well. But my question is that why is there no willpower from Nigerian leaders to emulate the leadership style from the West?
There are many factors that are involved. Nigerian politics is based on compromise, and compromise in the sense that at the very moment you're elected into office, there are people who probably work for you, who did a lot in getting you there, who want a fair share of returns when you are there, because of course, most of them see their contribution to your election as an investment. Yeah, in Western country, we also have the same thing. We have people who invest in elections, who want to return on those investments. But the difference between Nigeria and those Western countries is that whenever those returns are coming back, it cannot be at the expense of projects. It cannot be that, okay, because you supported my election, you have a company that I want to give a contract to, and then you give the contract, and then the company is not executing the contract. In Western society, no, you don't do that. Once a contract is given, the contract must be executed. If it is inflated, no problem, but the contract must be executed. But in Nigeria, it's a different ball game entirely. So the pressure of everyone wanting to be part and parcel of getting back from you, and then even the population itself, who did not in any way contribute to the election, want to take a piece from the pie, and
Exactly.
you, that's we hear cases like oh, he's my father-in-law, he's married to
It's
my
my
sister.
uncle.
You have all of those excuses coming up. Oh, he stayed in my place before. As a result of that, he has to give me contract. He has to do that, and some come with bogus business proposal that carries huge amount of money individually. And when you put all of that together, they add up to the pressure that our political leaders face. And of course, if you have a first term and you're seeking second term, you don't want to also offend those people by not answering their need. And then at the end, they go and wait for you when you're coming back for your second term and work against you. Even some don't even wait until you get to the second term. They
We
try to
start
do everything
immediately.
to start an impeachment process against you and all of that. But I think that knowing fully well that that's going to be part of the pressure when you go solicit for people's votes and people's support to get elected, you must also know that when they come to you, even those who come to you should have the best of their best.
Of
As a
course.
leader, you can tell them, listen, I want you to bring me two people for political appointment into so office. But these are the criteria that those two people must meet. So you don't just go and bring anybody because it's your entitlement to submit two names for political appointment. Within your space, you should be able to have people that have the quality of what I need for that office to be occupied. That is where most of our leadership also fail. Once
Okay.
those names come out, they don't have relationship with those names. They don't know who those people are. They've never met them before. They don't know if they have the capacity to run the office. They don't know anything. And then all of a sudden they're appointed DG of a government parastatal, DG of a government agency. You can't give what you don't have. So once you start to
Exactly.
compromise in those areas, collectively, the result, even when you desire to really want to give to Nigerians, to make a difference and give to Nigerians what they want. But when you start to compromise in those little areas, you will never be able to achieve even your own desired goal, let alone meet the yearnings and aspiration of the Nigerian
Of
populace.
Nigerians. Okay, so if you're to advise Nigerian leaders, what three leadership priorities would you recommend right now?
Build your relationship with the electorate.
Okay.
Get closer to the people who are really suffering. Sit down with them in public space. Once there is anything like insecurity, people die, make your presence felt. If you cannot do that because of your busy schedule, ensure that one prominent person in your government is there to sympathize, to mourn with those who have lost people. Yesterday, I was glued to my television. I saw how Trump, all Americans came to a standstill to celebrate September 11, you know. Even now, we're talking about people who were even there, who were not born as at the time this incident happened. Those constant commitment to a sad situation of the past is a reminder that we are still united. We are still going to work together, irrespective of our differences. Those are moments that bring people together, irrespective of religion, irrespective of ethnicity, irrespective of culture. We come together, we mourn together. Nigeria is spiraling into divisiveness, and some politicians have used the religious card, the ethnicity card to divide us even more. Leaders today must ensure that we are a united country. I believe in the diversity, I believe in the unity of Nigeria, and I believe that our diversity is supposed to be our strength. So therefore, our leaders should be people who can come together, having that understanding that this is not time for Nigeria to break. This is time for Nigeria to be united. And how do you unite them? Let everything that is supposed to divide us, whether in the north, in the south, in the west, in the east, let those things be the things that you will pay utmost priority to, and engage them and let them know that you are not for a specific tribe, you're not for a specific ethnic group, you're not for a specific religion. Nigerians are very easy to convince positively. They know where they're coming from, they know where they are right now, they know where they're going. June 12th presidential election showed to us how Nigerians can come together. Nobody argued when the Abiola Kingibe ticket was a Muslim ticket. Nobody
Of
argued.
course.
Every Christian voted for this
For them.
alliance. So Nigerians have shown that they can do that in the past. They're also showing now that if we have a leadership, we can work together to ensure that we build a country that has the potential. God has blessed Nigeria. Resources, geographical location, intellectual intelligence of people scattered all over the world. The only thing that we're lacking right now is patriotic leadership. Once we get that right, Nigeria will compete with any country in the
Okay.
world, and we will be
All right.
classified as the greatest country ever to exist on this
Okay, thank you,
planet
sir.
Earth.
We're almost out of time, but we'll just take one more comment from our social media. And Chika says, Sir, as a former governorship aspirant, what challenges did you face and what is your advice for youth seeking to be elected into leadership positions? Youth are gradually losing passion. In 1 minute, sir, please. Can you answer that for us?
Well, the challenge that I actually faced was that Nigerians are too used to a name that they already know. We have a way of wanting to, when they say that the old leadership don't want to leave, I disagree with that. We have a way of asking the question, who is this one? What can he offer? Nobody listens to what you have to give. Nobody gives you a chance. If it was in Nigeria, people like Obama wouldn't have been president because he was just a first-term senator. So he came from that. But people listened to him in town hall meetings, and they saw the way he presented himself, the way he spoke. They knew that they had the next American president in him, and they supported him, and he became a president. That will be very difficult to happen. And I don't blame the youth, because we do not have a presidency in Nigeria. We do not have situation where, everybody didn't want a particular candidate to win, and then somehow they went to the poll and he got elected, and then suddenly things changed and he became one of the best person to ever occupy that office. That was the challenge I faced. Now, and do not also forget that hunger and deprivation can also make a lot of people to compromise, where all you need now is how you can feed, pay your rent, take care of your family is your priority. You will throw ethics to the wind. You will throw things that are not supposed, that are supposed to guide you in choosing the right people to govern you. You throw them to the wind. You go rather for the thing that you can collect now. That was what I saw. I was at the polling units. I saw all the things that happened, how monies were changing hand, and all of that at the expense of their tomorrow. What we can do, if we can sacrifice, hold on, because we've been sacrificing, and hold on and come together and let our electorate come and address us and tell us what capacity they have to tackle the problems that we have. If we can do that and be united, we can get a leadership that will not be people who are already very known to them or to everybody, but who were selected on the basis of what we saw in them in terms of preparedness for the office. Most leadership in Nigeria, the people have not been prepared. They just want to be either the president, they want to be the governor, but in terms of dealing with the challenges of the people and the needs of the people, I don't think they're ever prepared. And that is why even when they get to power, they struggle to put their government in place.
All right, Dr. Ofehe, thank you for finding the time to be with us today, all the way from the Netherlands. I know you have a very busy schedule, and we really appreciate you at LJE. Hoping to see more of you and hear from you. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode of Leadership Dialogue. Do well to be a part of the LJE Nigeria National Conference by registering with the link on the screen and on our various social media platforms. Be sure to keep the conversation going. Comment, like, and subscribe to our social media platforms at LJE Nigeria. And do well to report a violation on our website at www.ljenigeria.org. Thank you for joining us on Leadership Dialogue today. I am Omoyeni Ojefo.
The land we call home, the source of our life, our food, and our future. A conflict that tears at the very heart of Nigeria.
We see the pain, the shattered lives, and the broken trusts. But what if we could mend what is broken?
LJE Nigeria invites government officials, traditional and religious leaders, farmers and herdsmen representatives, security agencies, civil society organizations, international development partners, and the general public to a 2-day national conference themed Securing Nigeria's Future, addressing the root cause of herdsmen-farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue. Date, 30th September to 1st October 2025. Venue, Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Nigeria.
Join us as we address the root causes of this conflict through inclusive dialogue.
We will not just talk.
We will listen.
We will not just debate.
We will seek to understand.
Together, we will find solutions.